Morning, everyone. I'm in a morning, but as you are joining us, I know we'll probably start to have a number of folks drop in here in the next minute or two. Why don't you let me know if it is is it a good morning? Is it a good afternoon? Is it a good evening based on where you are? Of course, it could be a bad evening or a bad day, but yeah, share good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and what's happening in the sky. What's happening in the sky of where you are? For me, right here on the west coast of the US, up in Portland, Oregon, we've got a beautiful dry day starting, which is so unusual here. Great. New York, right on, Putnam Valley. I was just there having to sell my parents' home down in Westchester. Puffy clouds, great. Yeah, so we can start to feel and sense, put ourselves in a feeling sensing mode here versus thinking as we watch the weather. It's a little gray. Seattle may be a little dark still. Northwest UK, bit dull. Yeah, we share that a bunch. Yeah, clearing in Seattle, very nice. Rainy in Scottsdale, that's unusual. Yeah. Good morning from Greece, lovely. Well, nice to have you all here at our Leadership Dojo. My name's Susie Nichols. I've been with Susie Institute. I was just calculating here. I'm in my 19th year. 19th year. Speaking of aging ourselves, Salunas. Yeah. This is a special place, and I'm going to share a little bit about that with you this morning. I do teach many of their courses and have one coming up in a couple of weeks if anyone's interested in joining, and an online version, and also take this type of learning into organizations. That's a good bit of the work that I do, taking somatic learning development into organizations. So nice to be here with you today. Our focus is on returning to center. Anybody have a kind of an off-centering year last year? Or was I just the only one? Yeah, it seems like last year brought our world together a bit more, because I think a lot of us all over the globe were potentially rocked off center. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and engage in some reflection, and then get up and do some practice. We'll teach a kata today that you can take away and use in your own morning centering practices, or however you wish. Yeah. Before we go into what we're up to today, I'd like to share with you, what do we have on here? About 40 or so people. And I'm going to assume that some of you have seen our dojo here in Northern California, but I'm going to also assume that many of you have not yet had the pleasure of and the privilege of going to Susie Institute's dojo in Petaluma, California. So would you allow me, Salunas, now to share my screen? Yeah? Okay, great. So I invite you all here to let your breath out, put down what you might be writing or drinking or whatever, and just take a moment here. This is a video that was shot. Let's see, I'll get us into it. Okay, this is a video that was shot right the morning after a 6-day course. So Susie offers a course called the School of Embodied Leadership. It's 6 full days, and it's intense in all kinds of really positive and opening ways. And so the morning after, of course, we've really cleaned and restored the dojo to its original and perhaps better for that week state. And I just want to share it with you so that you can see the dojo. Okay, so it's about a minute long. All right. Yeah, so for some of you, maybe that was a nice reminder if you've been there before, and for others, that can give you a felt sense here of our training space. And as you saw there, it's one of the things that's really unique about it is that so this is probably, I want to say 35, nearing 35 years old, I think. Richard Strozzi Heckler, it was his declaration to have a space of awakening for communities of people. So there have been literally tens of thousands of people over those years that have come through there on a path of awakening. Yeah, so a dojo is a place of awakening, a place of learning, a place of practice where a community of people come together on path and train together. And so this is a really fundamental piece or framework of our work. Yeah, the work of embodiment is a couple of the key elements is that we're on a path of development. We're in practices together, holistic practices of conversation and reflection, but also practices of engagement, getting up and being in our whole selves. And then we join with communities of people, because as we all know, it's one thing when I do all my good thinking about how I'd like to go have that conversation or engage in that thing that I'm going to engaging in, and then I show up. And then all of my nervous system and my thoughts that come as a result of those nerves and that aliveness start to trigger. And so that's what we train here at Strozzi Institute is how can I become more awake to my aliveness and to be on purpose, on my purpose, your purpose, and as effective as we can be. Yeah, so we introduce distinctions and practices that help us do that. Okay. Let's see, I see a few people can't wait to go some way. Yeah, what is a kata? I'll share a little bit about that later. It's a series of movements, physical movements, and we'll get there. Yeah, but thanks for letting me drop us in there. It helps to drop me into the dojo. It's been over a year since I've been able to be there too. And it's a sanctuary and a special place. So I bring that to us this morning. Okay, so returning to center. So why don't we start with, what is it when we say that person is centered? Yeah, or what is it to be centered in one's life? What comes to mind? Let's have you engage a little bit in the chat. When I'm centered in my life, what does that mean? Calm. Mm-hmm. Connected to my values. Yep. Yeah. Aware. Mm-hmm. Unstoppable can be. Yeah. Present. Yeah. Present, connected, confident, resilient, grounded. Mm-hmm. Calm, clear, resilient. Yeah. Grounded, powerful. Yeah. Yeah. Yes to all that. Yes to all that. I am connected with myself. I'm connected with my values. I'm connected with what I'm up to. And I'm moving in a way in my life that has the best chance of things going the way that I'd like. Now, doesn't mean that things go the way that I like. And another thing for us to understand is it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily calm, although it can mean that. Yeah, a big part of what we train in our dojo and in our life here is how do I actually stay on purpose when there's a lot of energy happening in my system. Okay, I just had I just visited family this past week, and both of my parents are elderly, and it's really challenging. And my sister and I are really doing the best we can to manage through a very difficult time. And I got into it with my sister, and I felt really bad about that, and I didn't want that to be how it was. So I was very actively centering in that interaction. Yeah, my system was all lit up. I was upset, blah, blah, blah. And I kept coming back. How do I do this? Well, I train it. Yeah, I knew that I was off center. I knew that I was in a state of being that was not being effective. Yeah, so centering is a way that I organize myself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, mentally, and emotionally to be present. Yeah, to stay connected with myself and this other person in this instance, and what we're the bigger context of what we're up to. So it's a way I organize myself physically, mentally, and emotionally to be on purpose and to be most effective. Now, that is really a bunch of words and a really good idea, but until you train it daily in your life and take that on, it's just that, a really good idea. Okay. So many people, when they start to come through SI, Susie Institute, and engage in our work, it's very common that we will falsely think I should be centered all the time, or even that I could be centered all the time. Okay, like that's some kind of nirvana state, some kind of state of perfection that I can achieve, and I'm actually a bad person if I don't. That's not how it is. So again, centering is a distinction now that we can have in our lives. Do I feel centered in my life? Do I feel connected with what is important to me, my values, my ambitions, if I'm holding some ambitions, yeah, my vision for what I would like in my world, in the world, yeah. So,
Susie,
please, yeah.
Can you share what it feels like to be centered, or when you're in reactivity? Like, what is that? How do you know the difference between those two things?
Yeah, thanks, Salonis. So, well, oftentimes, like, again, I'll just share this because we were in that experience, right? I knew in my voice, my tone, I knew in my words what was coming out of me. I was also, I was tight in my chest. So I felt a tightness and I felt a sharpness coming out of me. And again, so how do I know I was off center in that moment? It's my mood. It's how I'm feeling in my body. It's being observant of the impact of what's happening. So centering is actually a commitment to ongoing awareness, not just of myself, but of others. And awareness of not just thinking, but awareness of my body will tell me when I am off center. And my body being both my physical body, but then also my mood, my tone, yeah, my actions. Mm-hmm. That getting at what you were speaking, Salonis? Yeah.
That was great. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, yeah. So again, so often, and again, we as humans, we know how to do this, and on our best days, we do it. But a lot of times we don't, and that's what this work is about: being very human, and about being self-aware, and also effective. So knowing how to get back on center. And so, how do I get back on center? particularly in that moment, I had to let my breath out. I had to relax, for me, my eyes. So the tension in the body, if we keep that in place, that makes it harder. I won't say impossible. I don't know, honestly. But as the body shifts, I can shift. Yeah, the body and the self are one. Yeah, so I definitely let my breath out. I sat down in the conversation. Yeah, I let the energy and the aliveness flow. So we have to, first, I want to say, don't hold the thought that you can be centered all the time. The work is to know that you're off in the ways that we've been describing here. Yeah, to know that you're off, and then to know the way back, to know how to get oneself back in a different state. Yeah. So we center in a couple of different ways, and I want to name those here, and then we'll move into a little bit of some practice and reflection here. So centering is a distinction that I can hold in my life, I can be aware of in my life. We center in a moment. We center in a moment, like, for instance, the moment that I was speaking with about my sister. We center if we're, say, going into an important engagement. Maybe for some of you that are coaches, we recenter when we're going to meet with a new client. We center when we're going to a protest or a march. We center when we're going into a meeting, right? And it's a way that I collect myself physically, mentally, and emotionally to be on purpose and effective. Yeah. So we can develop the ability to center in a moment. We also might center ourselves for our day. So many of you might already engage in morning practices where you're centering yourself for your day. It can include some prayer or some meditation and some movement or a walk or some reading or whatever. Yeah. So ways that we center ourselves for our day. And then we also can be in the reflection of, do I feel centered and on purpose in my life? Yeah, in a moment, for a day, in my life. And the in our life is where I want us to kind of reflect and kind of turn our attention to in this moment. Do I feel, sense, on purpose and connected and centered in my life? Okay. So I'm going to read a poem here. Poetry is often one of the practices that we engage in here at Strozzi Institute. It has a way of bringing us to an important experience. Yeah. So this is a poem by William Stafford, an Oregonian at one point, and it's called The Way It Is. The Way It Is. There is a thread you follow. There is a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. You have to explain about the thread. But it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Yeah, while you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die. And you suffer and get old. Yeah, life will happen. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. Yeah, the way it is. There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. People won't understand. You have to explain about the thread, but it's hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. So the poem is reminding us that there's a thread. There's a thread that runs through us. I'm not holding here purpose like some grandiose thing that some have and others don't. Yeah. There's a path for you in your life, and there's a thread of what draws you, of where you feel most alive. Yeah. So inside of our dojo today, we want to invite you to make sure that you're connected with the thread. Now, some of you may already be, and that's awesome. Yeah, we want to have people sharing with us and saying, you know what, I do feel right on path and life's happening around me, but I feel on path and I feel on path. Yeah. And then, of course, a dojo space is a place of practice and a place where we get to be our whole selves. And maybe I'm off path. Maybe I'm not in touch with what's most important to me. So for the next 10 minutes here or so, maybe not quite that long, I'd like to have us just sit with some questions. And so I invite you now, if you're in a space where you have something you'd like to write with, you could gather that. And I'm going to just lead us into a little bit of centering here, seated. And then I'll ask you some questions and you can reflect on them. Okay, so allow yourself to find a seated position where both feet are on the floor, if they can be. Your legs aren't crossed, and hopefully your lower back can be supported so that your spine can be upright here and you can relax onto your bones and there's a stable ground. Yeah, your seat and your feet. And just turn your attention now from thinking to sensing and feeling. For some of you, that might be new. For some of you, that's what you already know. But just start to tune into your breath. You might hear your breath. You might feel your breath. And then oftentimes when we turn our attention to breath, we can notice that we're holding it or it's high in our chest. And give yourself the gift of a deeper, longer exhale. And if you'd like to close your eyes, that can often help to disconnect from distraction. And bring your attention to your seat and your feet. Where our attention goes is where our energy and aliveness flows. So we can feel the ground of our seat, feel the ground of our feet and a solid base. And then let your spine be tall. So not like a reaching, but just so this dimension of length is not collapsing in some way. And your balance side to side. Left butt cheek, right butt cheek, left foot right foot. Gift yourself with a moment of quiet as you connect with yourself. And then our first question to just be with. And I want to bring, there's non-judgment here. And for some of us, that is not what we practice. Yeah. We practice being particularly hard on ourselves and judging ourselves. But today we're going to practice non-judgment. And just be with the question, do I feel on purpose? Yeah, do I feel relatively centered in my life? No judgment. Just trust what comes. Be with what comes. Do I feel on purpose, relatively centered in my life? Let yourself have a yes if you do. Some of us are quick to judge and, oh, I have to keep getting better. Let yourself experience a yes, or maybe you don't. And until we know, we can't recenter. And then a second question here, do I sense or feel a calling of some kind? I don't mean a calling like, again, a calling from spirit. I mean, is there something, a shift? Is there something that's saying, listen to me? Maybe a change that we want to make, but we haven't slowed down enough to hear it. Is there something that's calling? Maybe it's to reinforce something. Good job. If I were to listen, because we can choose not to, if I listened to this call, to this voice that's saying something, is there a change I would make? Is there something I would turn my attention to? And is there one next step? Maybe it's reinforcing something I'm already in. Maybe it's an action I would take. Maybe it's a practice, a new practice I would take on, or a community I would reach out to. It's practices, actions, and community that help to get us back on center. Take another few moments here to capture thoughts if you'd like. And let your eyes come open, and we'll reconnect here in our space together. Okay, So, I just shifted onto the gallery view, and hello, Erin. I just saw your face. I'm sure there are others here, but just one in particular. Oh, Juliana, I should have had this on this whole time. And many of you that I don't know, Daniel, Caroline, Cara, Jean, Naja, how lovely. Yeah. So I hope that that was, gave you some insight, yeah, gave you some awareness about yourself, yeah, and whether you feel on purpose, centered in your life. The first thing is to know that we're not, if we're not, yeah. But I also want to reinforce, just having worked with so many humans over the years, that so many of us are so hard on ourselves, and some of our work is to actually say, you know what, I am on purpose, and not have to continually do, but actually that my work is to be with that. Yeah. All right. Commit to yourself to take that one action, that one practice, or reach out to that community if you found yourself off center in some way. Yeah. Reach out to your dojo community. Yeah. Or join a dojo community. Can't emphasize that enough. Okay, we're going to shift now, and I'm going to get up, and we're going to shift now to learning a practice, learning a kata, that any of you who have come through Strozzi's work before know this as the 31 Jo kata. Yeah, and I'll speak more about that when I get up. I'm going to talk for a few more minutes here, and then I invite you to get up with me and learn the practice. So you can stay seated for now if you'd like, or if you want to get up, it's up to you.
Susie, before you start teaching that, we have one question from
Terrific.
Jane.
I love it.
I just want to know, what do you mean by distinctions? Like, what is the concept?
Yeah, great. Thank you. So a distinction, I don't know if anyone in this call has ever bought a car. Maybe you've remodeled a space that you live in. Maybe you wanted to get curtains in a space you live in, or you took on, getting moldings or whatever. So a distinction is like, okay, if I'm going to buy a car for my family and I want to buy a van because we have many kids and lots of soccer balls and hockey sticks or whatever, you'll be surprised that once you start to make that distinction of the kind of car you want to drive, you'll see them all over the road. Okay. Or again, if you're going to start to buy curtains for your place that you live in, you'll start to notice everyone's curtains. Okay. So a distinction helps us to distinguish, and we start to notice. So a distinction of, am I centered? Now, that is, you can now start to reflect on. You can also start to see people in the world, right? Or in a meeting. Wow, that person is really more in a reactive state in the way that they're orienting here. And so we would say that they're uncentered. Yeah, centered is when I'm more responsive and versus reactive, as an example. Okay. For the person that asked that, Jane, does that help you? Anything else there? Hopefully that helped. Yes, thumbs up? Nope. Okay, thumbs up for now. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to learn a kata. A kata is this all right, Salunas, in terms of seeing me here? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So in Strozzi's work, yeah, it is about embodiment. So we get up and we work with our whole neurobiology. Okay, and we train our ability to have a lot of aliveness going on and stay centered and grounded and present and on purpose. Okay, again, good idea. It's what we practice so that we can do it under pressure, right? When I'm there with my sister, as an example. So a kata is a series of moves that many martial arts use them to train the body. In our work, we train the body self to embody something, okay, through various kata is one of the forms we use. This particular kata comes from Aikido. Aikido is a main stream in our methodology, in our our work. So this is the 31 Jo katas, 31 moves, and we usually do it with a Jo. A Jo is a wooden staff, and I would love to have all of you have this staff, but you don't. And your ceilings would get wrecked. Okay, so but we can learn the Jo kata without the Jo, and that's what we're going to do today. So I want to why do we use kata? So once you learn the movements, then you can apply your own for sake of what? For sake of what? Meaning, what am I training? So who is it, how is it that I need to be in order to fulfill on what's important to me? What's the mother that I want to be with my child? What is the leader inside of my organization? What do I need to embody to be effective in my organizing? So depending on what your need for development or want for development, you can bring that to your kata and train that into your presence, okay, which is 93% of what is communicated. So ready to go? Let's learn this. This is not easy to do, but you all are an experienced dojo community, and I know that you can learn this in 15 minutes, okay? So I want to make a couple of distinctions with your feet, okay? One is a slide. So I have my left foot forward, okay? My knees are bent. I'm in my legs, okay? And this is a slide where the same foot stays forward or backward, okay? That's a slide. That's distinct from now a step. That's a step. That's a step. Okay, so there's sliding, okay, and then there's a step. So I'll let you know when we're sliding or stepping, okay? With our hands, So there's another martial art that I teach and that I am a student inside of, which is Jodo. Jodo uses the Jo, the staff, and the wooden sword, okay? Now, I'm saying this because the Jo is actually more versatile than the sword. The sword has one blade, a Jo has 360, The Jo's longer than a sword, so it can get inside of a sword, okay? None of this is relevant because we're not in it from a martial standpoint, but I share that just to say that when you hold a sword, your left hand is always at the base. And it doesn't matter if I have my left foot forward or my right foot forward, it doesn't matter. My left hand is always on the base. Okay, so try that a little bit. You can just have your hands out in front, okay? But whether we step or we slide, it doesn't matter. My left hand is always going to be on the base, and I have the blades of my hand can represent cutting, okay? So the blades of my hand can cut, and it doesn't matter if my left foot or my right foot is forward. Yeah, my left hand is always at my center. Okay, and I'm not like this. Okay, I extend out. Okay, so let's learn this move. Okay, these series of moves. So we're going to start with our left foot forward. Again, bend your knees so that your weight is in your legs. Okay, and the first, so you can just have your arms, yeah, at your sides here. And we're going to thrust forward. So we're sliding forward. And it's like we have the Joe in our hand and we're sliding forward. And then we're sliding back and my hands are coming up. Okay, this can really help to open your chest, open your breathing. Okay, it's like you're protecting yourself under something. Okay, then my hands are going to come down and I'm going to slide again. I'm going to do those same two moves again. Slide forward and then come back. So I've just done the same move twice. Okay, now remember those blades of your hand? We're now going to step with our right foot and we're going to cut. Okay, my right foot's forward now. My left hand is connected at my center. My hands are going to come up and I'm going to step with my left foot and I'm going to cut again. And remember, the left hand's always at the center, but now I have my left foot forward. Okay, we're going to do that again. Left foot forward. Left foot forward. We slide forward. 1, 2, 3, slide forward, and 4. Okay, now we're going to step with the right foot and cut. 5. We're going to step with the hands come up. We're going to step with the left foot. 6. Okay, now basically just turn around. I didn't move my feet, I just turned around. Okay, now we're going to slide forward with our right foot and we're going to cut. Okay, I had my right foot forward and I just slide forward, cut. Now this next move, we just did it. Hands come up, I'm going to step with my left foot and I'm going to cut. We just did that move. We did it again. Okay, that's 8. Who would have thought? Oh, you know what? I didn't show it. Did I show it to you? I'm not sure I showed it to you. I'm not sure I showed you what we're going to be learning here. But you got this. You're going to learn that. And in fact, you already are. We're halfway there, 3/4 there. Okay. So let your breath out. What's most important, again, I know we're learning here, so many of you might be holding your breath. I noticed I was holding my breath because I was teaching it. Yeah. So the work after we learn the moves is to be able to let your breath out, stay centered physically, stay connected with yourself, connected with what you're up to. Okay. But right now we're in the, let's learn the footwork and the handwork and all that. Okay. First 8 moves. Left foot forward. Be in your legs and you're upright. Yeah. Watch for if you're here, you want to practice staying connected with your front back. Okay. So we slide forward. 1. Slide back. 2. 3. 4. Now I'm going to step with my right foot. Step with my right foot and cut. 5. Your hands go up. Step with my left foot. 6. turn around. Now I slide forward with my right foot with a cut. Slide. Hands come up, step with the left foot, step. Okay, now, know which one is your left foot. Know which one is your left foot, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna pivot around your left foot. Your right foot's gonna come back. Okay, we're gonna do that again. I was here, I had my left foot forward. We just cut, so my left hand was at the base, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pivot around my left foot. There you go, yep. Number 9. Now 10 is we're gonna step with our right, and our hands are gonna follow and move everything forward. So we've just cut up. We've cut up and out. Okay. Now, number 11 is a move we've done 2 times before. I'm going to step with my left. My hands are going to come up and I cut. We've done that 3 times now. Okay. That was 11. And then I'm just going to slide back. And that's 12. And what you'll notice is that we're just at the beginning again. So that this can become a series, once we learn it, that we can do in a rotation. Yeah. Okay, Salunas, how we doing?
It looks like people are slowly getting it.
Slowly getting it. All right. Well, I know we're teaching something very fast here, yeah, over Zoom. But our hope is that you can return to this on video. And I know a lot of you are already getting it, okay? So let me make a point here. When we slide forward, okay, what we're always building is the experience of groundedness. So if I slide forward and I bring my feet together like that, yeah, I'm more off balance, okay? So inside of this kata, we always want to ensure that I've got my base. So some of you are kind of coming like this, yeah, or more upright. And we want to really emphasize in this because we're training the body to feel the experience of groundedness. Now, again, when you're in a meeting, you're not going to have the meeting like this, right? But the more that we train our ability to access ground, then we can do that more readily here. Okay, so let's learn the 12 moves again. Left foot forward. Let your breath out. Find your right base. It's not too short. It's not too big. My knees are bent, so I'm in my legs and I'm upright. So the first move is thrusting something forward. And I come back, yeah, take care of myself, find my resilience, and then I thrust something forward again. And I slide back. Good, those are 4 moves, just actually 2 moves. Now I'm gonna step with my right, and I'm gonna use the blades of my hand and I'm gonna cut. Yeah, it's like I'm cutting something into my life. Yeah, my success, my happiness, my joy, my impact. I'm going to bring my arms up and I'm going to step with my left and cut. Again, remember a sword always has left hand at the base. So right here, connected at your center. Now just pivot around without changing your feet. Yeah, so my right foot's forward and now I can slide forward with a cut. Bring my arms up and I'm going to step with my left, step and cut. Yeah, check to make sure you're upright, grounded. And now you're going to turn around your left foot, around the left foot, and the right foot comes back. So my left foot's forward now, and then I'm going to step with my right as if I'm taking my sword and I'm cutting up. Yeah. And then my arms come up. I'm going to step with my left and cut. Yeah, we've done that move 3 times now. And then if I just slide back and I'm just basically at the beginning. Okay, so now I know this is probably too soon because it's all very new, but we're just going to try and flow with it a little bit. Okay. Again, probably too soon for those of you that are just learning it. But once you get these moves in you, then you can start to be in the experience of, how do I want to be in my life? And how does it feel to be that? How does it feel to be that? So do I want to experience more joy in my life? And I do my kata joyfully. What does it feel like to do something joyfully? Yeah. Different from, okay, today I have to hold a very difficult session and I need to be really a requirement or rigorous here. And so how do I want to feel holding that ground for my team or that requirement? So it's going to look very different. Yeah. But again, it's for your opportunity to customize it as you wish or need. Okay. So we're going to do it one more time here, and we'll do it a couple times. Yeah. So breath out in your legs, and I'm going to add some narrative to it. So the first move, we're moving something into the world. Slide back. Yeah. Collect yourself. Moving into the world. Slide back. Yeah, we always need to recenter, find our resilience. Cut. Right foot comes forward. Hands come up. We cut with our left. And then we pivot. Our feet didn't change. Right foot. Yeah. Slide forward. Hands come up. I'm going to step with my left. Cut. Yeah. Pivot around the left. Move everything, your whole being into the world. And step with your left. Cut. Yeah. And then come back. And we can go again. Just let yourself, maybe you have it, maybe you don't. What's more important is, are you centered? Right? And then it can repeat again. So we've learned 12 moves there. And we come back to a place where we can just begin again. Everything. Cut. Okay. Blessings to you. I hope that was enlivening, a bit fun. I'm sure for some that didn't like gym class, it was torturous. It wasn't gym class, but we were having to follow left and right, hands and feet. For some of us, that's easier than others. Yeah, let me hear a couple of comments, or if there's a question. Where is the video that was mentioned? Which video? Maybe this video? Great, Julianne, nice to see you. Yes, yeah, the narrative. So again, you can apply your own based on the movements and based on what is, you're training into your being. Welcome, Cindy. Love it. how to use this. Yes. Stepping it. Yes. Yes. Cutting something into my life. What do I want to cut more into my life? What do I want to cut out? So again, you can use the action of a blade, of a sword, without a sword, to cut in and cut out of your life. Does the left hand stay close to the body center at all times? Yes, and basically what we're developing is a body self that, so if I'm relaxed, where am I? If I'm relaxed and upright, my hands will basically, there's a distance, yeah, where I'm not pulling in or I'm not overreaching. So again, it's about, am I in the body of really most effective relaxation and responsiveness? Yeah, there's so much more to say about all that, but hopefully that answers a little bit. Oh, altered my morning energy. Thank you. You are very welcome. Oh, we won. Yeah, please, Salinas. Yeah.
Everyone here before we log off for today.
Great. Go for it.
And that let everyone know that you're teaching a course. You and Tim Palmer are teaching a course called Personal Mastery. And that today we will have a question and answer session for an hour with both Susie and Tim. And I just want to make sure that you all are have the link and can join us. So I'm going to put it into the chat. You can just copy that from the chat and log on at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know if Susie's going to go through a kata during that session.
No, we're not. No, we're here to answer your questions at that time. Yeah.
We'll have some moments to answer your questions for sure. Susie, anything else you want to add?
No, I just appreciate the community of practitioners. Appreciate you taking this time for yourself and your life. And hopefully both the questions as well as a little bit of movement might have helped to reconnect you with yourself, give you a path of recentering. And please do reach out to Salinas with questions. Join us this afternoon if you're able, or dial in if you have more questions about what we'll be teaching starting next week. But regardless of that, we hope to see you again in the dojo here on Tuesdays or in any one of the courses. So thanks very much, all.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So for the recording, you can go to our Facebook page to get the recording immediately. Otherwise, watch for your emails. And we will have the poem that Susie read during the session inside that email. So thank you all for joining and have a wonderful, wonderful day. We look forward to
Thanks all. Nice to see you. Have a good day or an evening.